Okay, I think we'll get started then. I can see that most people have dropped in, so we'll get started with today's webinar. I wanted to say thank you for joining us this morning on this morning's webinar. I hope that everyone is well and safe, and I think the good news is that we're all starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel now, and we are starting to see more positive news out there, which is fantastic. My name's Katy. I've worked in the cruise industry for about 9 years now or so. And I'm lucky enough to be working here at Panache Cruises too. Today we are really excited to be speaking to you about Azamara Cruises with all the news that has just been announced. We'll be joined today by Nikki, who is the account manager at Azamara Cruises. And during the presentation, you'll get an insight into life on board and find out about some of their new and exciting itineraries, some of their current campaigns and their promotions. And of course, as always, we do have an exclusive event offer to use towards your next booking. We'll talk about that afterwards though. Differently today, we will be talking about Azamara's destination immersions and all their unique and amazing itineraries. We'll be joined by my colleague Catherine, Kat Gelder and Emma, who are also cruise connoisseurs here. So we're just really excited about today. Before I do hand you over to Nikki, I wanted to introduce to you ourselves and what Panache Cruises is all about. So if we kind of just go to the next slide. Lovely. Okay, so who are we? Who is Panache Cruises? So we were founded by James Cole, who is a successful cruise entrepreneur. He has built some amazing cruise brands that have been really successful. And James is really well known in the travel industry and really respected. We're also lucky to be able to work with James here at Panache Cruises. The team here at Panache Cruises, combined, we have over 100 years of cruise industry knowledge. What we try and aim to do here at Panache Cruises is look after you right from the stage of inquiry all the way through from when we welcome you home from your amazing cruise holiday. We offer bespoke holidays to match your requirements and to ensure that you have the best holiday and booking experience. Nothing's too much trouble here. We do live by that motto. We'll take care of everything for you, whether that be hairdresser appointments on board or whether or not that be us arranging your shore excursions, booking your dining, restaurant reservations. We'll take care of that all for you. That's what we just like to do here. We love to offer you this personalised service, and we do pride ourselves on that. At the moment, more than ever, I would just like to touch on the point of that most of the cruise lines out there at the moment have the best book with confidence messages that I've seen. We've got low deposits, we've got reduced prices, relaxed payment terms. So it is really a good time now to be looking to make your next booking. Azamara in particular also have their best price guarantee. So if you make any bookings, say within the next 2 weeks after this webinar, we can guarantee that if your price does go down after this, we can look at honouring any new prices or promotions that come across. That's just what we do here. We like to go to the extra mile to ensure that you're being looked after and you're getting the best deals. Now, before I do hand you over to Nikki, I just wanted to let you know at the bottom, there is a chat box. So if you just hover near the bottom, you'll see that there's a chat box. So if you want to put in there any questions that you really want to know about right now and what's going on with Azamara, we'll try our best to answer them at the end of the webinar for you. So yeah, thank you so much for joining. I've probably gone through that really fast, so apologies, but let's get started with the webinar, and thank you. I'll hand you over to Nikki.
Well, hi everyone. Thanks, Katy. It's great to be here as part of Panache's webinar this morning. And I'm really looking forward to being able to just run over some just some information on the news with regards to all the recent news that's come out with regards to Azamara and our sale, and obviously our new ships as well. And I'm going to run through, as I said, all of us are going to run through some of the destination immersion itineraries that we have in our deployment throughout 2021 and 2022, and we're all going to be able to bring a bit of a personal note to that, because most of us have been and visited quite a few of these places as well. So first and foremost, I am pressing return for the next slide to happen, but it's taken a while, I think, so bear with me a second. No. Can you see the next slide, Katy?
I can't.
No. There we go.
There we are.
So there we go. It just takes a couple of clicks, so sorry about that. So first of all, before I even go into the destination immersion, I really just wanted to talk quickly about the acquisition of Azamara by our new equity company. So we are really excited about where we're going forward with this, and obviously, you know, the Sycamore have not only invested in us as a company, but obviously shown how committed they are to the growth plans for Azamara, that they've already bought another ship. So we have a new member of the fleet, a fourth ship sitting in Rome at the moment. We already have, as some of you may know, Captain Carl out there on our new ship, just taking care of the initial beginnings of where we're going to be, how we're going to start refitting the ship to match our other three ships, Quest, Pursuit and Journey. So it's all very exciting stuff for us, but I think one of the main things to really reassure all of our guests and our travel partners as well is that, you know, Azamara will be staying the same. There are no major changes. We will still be the brand that we are, and we will still be focusing on the destinations like we do, and the unrivaled places that we visit, and our team will remain the same and our crew will remain the same as well. So the brand itself, Azamara, will have no major changes to it. The only changes that will happen are those exciting new changes that having a new ship and a new opportunities of being part of a new company will bring. So there will be more investment into Azamara going forward. We will have, as I say, more interesting itineraries out there going forward. Our new ship, although still unnamed, will have some fantastic, as I say, new itineraries, and she will start sailing the end of summer 2022. The plan is for her to be in the waters, and obviously our deployment for that and where we'll be going will come out a lot sooner than that for you to start booking. So it's all exciting news. The team here in the UK and nationwide for Azamara are absolutely over the moon about what's happening and all the changes and the opportunities ahead. So a lot to look forward to there. So as you can see in front of us here, the destination immersion experience, all of these things will remain the same. So we'll still get into the ports that the bigger ships can't visit. We'll get into more ports now. We've got a new ship. We're still going to focus on the longer stays and the more overnight. So, you know, sailing slowly through the night, arriving early morning at 7 o'clock in port, spending the whole day in port, not leaving till maybe 9, 10, 11 o'clock in the evening again, and very often sometimes overnight for 1 or 2 nights in port. So all of that will still remain the same. Our aim will always be to get you as close to the city centres or the port towns as we possibly can, and again that giving you more time in port than taking away the transfer times either side if you were further out. We'll still be doing all our country intensive voyages, which are proving very, very popular, particularly this year. And, you know, we'll have more worldwide destinations to visit now that we'll have another ship out there to visit a lot more places. So that's fantastic. The on-board experience as well, I really want to emphasise, nothing will change there. We will have the same crew. Our crew are still there dying to get back to the sea again and sailing and having our guests on board to serve. So we're absolutely delighted that you know, that there is light at the end of the tunnel now, and you know, hopefully we will be able to, you know, get everyone back on board, crew and customers, as soon as possible. But the actual experience on board, as I say, the brand experience from Azamara will not change. You will still be taken care of the same way as you always have. The amenities will still be included, your tips and your drinks, so you'll still always have that friendly, personal, home from home service that you've had with Azamara in the past, going forward. And we'll still be focusing as much as we can. Initially, they might be slightly different because of, you know, the situation we're in at the moment, but we will still be focusing on the local shore excursions, the overnight experiences in port, and our complimentary As Amazing evenings that are so, you know, renowned worldwide, with all our guests and really enjoyed. So yeah, the experience will be the same, and we're still going to be continuing the way we are. So peace of mind there. It's going to continue. Nobody wants Azamara to change. All we want is more of it, and that's really what's happened now, which is fantastic. So before we go into the itineraries, I also wanted to highlight that we have our wave offer is still on just now, which is save up to 40% on selected voyages throughout 21 and 22. And plus you would get, if you were in an ocean view or above, then you get free Wi-Fi with that too. And just remember, all of the other things are just included as standard with Azamara anyway. The one thing that I should highlight, I just spoke to the girls about this earlier this morning, is that up until this morning, the voyages that were applicable to this offer were only running until the end of March 2022, but we've just now added on the rest of the year up until the end of November. So there's a lot more voyages that are applicable to this 40% or up to 40% off offer, and some of them we'll be talking about throughout the rest of the rest of the webinar. So without further ado, I shall hand you over to the lovely Catherine, I believe, who is going to run through our fantastic South Africa itinerary here and give you some highlights. Now I'm just going to try, Catherine, to maybe move this bar slightly so that you can see the itinerary. So I'm going to pop us down there somewhere. Is that all right?
No, that's fine. Thanks, Nikki.
And I'll just mute myself so I don't interrupt you. Okay. Jump in. So bear with me.
Thank you.
I'm jumping away ahead of myself here. Hold on.
Thank you, Nikki. So obviously I'm going to talk about South Africa, which is one of my favourite countries and the perfect destination to combine a cruise with land package. South Africa, very easy to get to. You can fly direct from London with BA into Cape Town. It's like an overnight flight, takes 11 hours. You could also fly regionally if you wanted, with say Emirates or Etihad via Abu Dhabi or Dubai. But yeah, it's quite an easy route to fly to. And it's great because it's just a 2-hour time difference. So it's really good for jet lag sufferers. Similar time zone to the UK. It's all English speaking, as we know. Cape Town's the capital. So as you can see, Azamara do a great 12-night itinerary to and from Cape Town. And it goes up the coastline as far up as Mozambique. I have been lucky enough to travel here. I did travel all the way up to Mozambique. It was fabulous. It's kind of more off the beaten track, the higher up the coastline that you go. What I'm going to touch on briefly with you guys today is some of the main highlights on offer from Cape Town and the East and Western Cape. So Cape Town itself, just a half-an-hour transfer from the airport. It's a really easy route again. Lovely Mediterranean climate all year round. There are rainy times of the year, so generally during their winter time, which is our summer, June, July, August, it gets a bit more rainy, but it's always warm all year round. It's surrounded by the Atlantic Ocean. The water is freezing, so you don't really swim in the ocean, but it's nice to go and obviously have a look, maybe dip your toe in. But yeah, there's some lovely beaches along the tip of the coastline. It's a perfect location for a pre or post-stay package, and it has been voted one of the world's 15 best cities to go to. It's got a unique blend of natural beauty, captivating cultural attractions. The city itself is situated between the Atlantic Ocean and Table Mountain, which is one of the world's 7 wonders of nature. So the main highlights from Cape Town, obviously the main one I would say is Robben Island, which is located just off the coast. where Nelson Mandela was in prison for 18 of his 27 years. So whilst visiting Cape Town, it is essential you learn more about Nelson Mandela's 3-decade struggle to end apartheid in South Africa. It's now a museum and UNESCO World Heritage Site. You could do it as a trip, as a boat transfer with a guided tour. It's really worth doing. And obviously the next point of interest would be Table Mountain. So it is open all year round, but we always advise travelling first thing in the morning. If you want to do the trip, go as soon as you can when the clouds are clear. If you go when it's all cloudy, you wouldn't benefit from the view. So it's always best to do it in the morning. They've also got the famous Kirsten Bosch Botanical Gardens, which is a lovely area where you can go and do outdoor concerts, go and take a picnic and go and relax and chill. We've got a famous Victorian waterfront, which has an abundance of high-class hotels, boutique shops and restaurants. It is a stunning setting. And then another really highly recommended trip is the Cape of Good Hope. It's all located within driving distance of Cape Town. Recommend booking a full-day tour here. You can take a lovely scenic drive along the rocky coast of Cape Peninsula for making your way on top of Cape Point. It has amazing views of the Atlantic Ocean to the south and west. And this is where they also have the penguin colony at Boulders Beach. So it is really lovely to visit. And then going slightly further out, obviously you've got the famous winelands. We always recommend, if you can, to do it as, say, a 1 or 2 night stop. It is just an hour drive from Cape Town, but obviously it's heart of the world renowned winelands. So you could do it as a day trip or, as I said, a couple of nights. But obviously the scenery here is breathtaking. It's absolutely stunning. So you've got the 3 main areas. Franschhoek, which is it was established 300 years ago. It's known as a food and wine capital. It's a real gourmet capital for foodie clients with award-winning restaurants. So that is a really lovely town to visit. You've then got Stellenbosch, which is where the wineland started, the 2nd oldest town in South Africa. So it's known for its natural beauty, oak-lined avenues, Cape Dutch architecture. You have the famous Spear Wine Estate here, where they actually breed and research cheetahs. And then you have the last one, which is Paarl. Not as busy, more off the beaten track, but some fabulous wine estates, and it's the 3rd oldest town in South Africa. So just outside Paarl is Drakenstein Prison. This is where Nelson Mandela spent his last years of captivity, from which he completed his long walk to freedom. So if you go and visit these areas, it is a real must to go and maybe see and stop over. And then obviously up the coastline, if you travel from Cape Town going up towards Port Elizabeth, you've got the famous garden route, which is absolutely stunning. It goes from Mossel Bay to Port Elizabeth. If you drove it in one day, it would take about 7 to 8 hours, but you can do it and break up the journey and do stops along the way. It's really green and lush and really stunning. You could kind of describe it as the English countryside in the height of summer. It is absolutely beautiful. We'd recommend taking a tour, maybe 3 to 4 nights, up the coastline, stopping off at some kind of towns along the way. You've got George, which is slightly further up. George is famous for golfing. If any golf enthusiasts are out there, it's a great place to go and golf. You've then got Kaiser and Ashton. The Kaiser is famous for the Kango Caves. It's one of the natural wonders of the world. And Ashton is a desert-like inland town. They actually have ostrich farms here. You can even go ostrich riding. I didn't myself, but a few people did. And then you've got Plettenburg Bay, which has fantastic beaches, great for wildlife lovers. It's got the iconic Roberg Peninsula Nature Reserve, the Birds of Eden Aviary, which is one of the world's largest free-flight aviaries, and a place called Monkeyland, which is a rehabilitation centre for wild monkeys. You could take like a walking safari through the dense forest and go and see them all. I can't obviously not mention the main highlight of South Africa is safaris. So if you want to have an easy accessible safari, you don't want to travel inland all the way up to Johannesburg, there are some really lovely lodges along the Eastern Cape, and they're all about an hour's drive from Port Elizabeth, where you start getting all your game reserves. And the great thing about them is they're all malaria-free private game reserves. If you could maybe go and visit, it would be worth it. They can easily be attached to a garden route itinerary. So the Eastern Cape has perhaps done more than any other area to put conservation on the map in South Africa. There's different levels of lodges that you could look at. They're all home to the big five. So you've got the lions, the leopards, rhinoceros, elephants and Cape buffalo. Some really lovely, they're all about a 1 or 2 hour drive from Port Elizabeth, but you've got the Shamwari Game Reserve, the Pumba Game Lodge, Kwandwe, which is a real luxury one, Sambona, which is famous for the white lions, and the Addo Elephant Park, great for fishing, horseback riding and stargazing. There's so many options that you could go and visit from Port Elizabeth. It wouldn't take too much travelling or too much of your trip. Recommend about a 3-night stay. If you could do one in a safari lodge when you're there, it's really worth the experience because you get to see all the animals in the natural habitats, go on daily game drives, get close up and personal to all the animals, create some amazing memories. Nothing really beats it. Obviously, I've done it myself. I know how amazing it is. It's so diverse, so cultural, so full of wildlife. If anyone has any questions or wants to maybe look at an option adding on to an Azamara itinerary, do let me know. We could look at, if you don't want to just do an Eastern Cape, you could fly up to Johannesburg and do one of the game drives further inland if you wanted to. There is options there. I know Azamara do Great Kruger National Park safari package with the Winelands, which is a 5-night package. So you can combine both the Winelands and Kruger National Park in one itinerary. It is absolutely amazing experience and nothing really beats it. But anyone has any questions or wants to look at any more details, do let me know. Thank you.
That's fantastic. Thanks, Catherine. Honestly, I can back everything Catherine said there because I was lucky enough to do this one as well. And I did Franschhoek the Wineland, Stellenbosch, and then up to Kruger Safari and then on to Victoria Falls. And it was absolutely fantastic add-on to a cruise as well, which is great. It's a really good opportunity if you're going that far to really just take it that step further, isn't it? And do that add-on and that safari that you might never might not do otherwise or have the chance to do. So thanks for that, Catherine. That was a really good insight.
No problem.
Trying to move on. So it moves on when I don't want it to, and then it doesn't when I do. So bear with me a wee second. There we go. Is that right? The Black Sea. Right. So now we've got the lovely Katy. She's going to tell us a little bit about the Black Sea here in this fantastic journey itinerary we've got in late. I'm away again. Late September, late 22.
Fabulous. Thank you, Nikki. Wow, that South Africa itinerary just looks unreal. Thank you for that, Catherine. Yes, so we'll talk a little bit about the Black Sea. You probably know that over the past few years, well, 6 years, no cruise lines have been going there for various reasons. So any Black Sea itinerary going forward is going to be really popular. Azamara have got some unreal itineraries for late 2021 and 2022 at some incredible price points. So if you've done like the Mediterranean, Eastern Med, Western Med, this is definitely something I'd recommend. The Black Sea is known to be the keeper of secrets. Some say it is the location of Noah's biblical flood, while others do also suggests that it is also the lost city of Atlantis. So there's a lot of historical background to the Black Sea. And if you're into your history and beautiful scenery, then the Black Sea is definitely one to visit. So the Black Sea's beautiful region will take your breath away quite literally. With its cultural landmarks, variety of terrains and stunning scenery. You can spend your days exploring most ancient cities and beautiful coastlines, including Nessebar, Varna, Constanta, Yalta and Odessa. They're some of the main ones where you'll always sail around doing the Black Sea. And there is so much that I can tell, but you just have to see it to believe it. I thought I would summarise some of the main reasons why people do love this itinerary and why people visit it. A lot of the itineraries do start in Athens And Athens is one of Europe's oldest cities and home to many, many wonders. It's a great city. And here at Panache Cruises, along with Azamara, we can add on any stays before or after your cruise, just to take in everything that port of call has got to offer, because there really is so much to see. I'd probably recommend at least a day there before your cruise, just to see what there is. During Black Sea itineraries as well, you probably find some of the days at sea, you'll cruise through the Bosphorus Straits. So this is a really well-known and famous waterway in the world. It's also known as the Strait of Istanbul. It's a narrow natural strait and it is an internationally significant waterway located at the northwestern area of Turkey. The great thing about Azamara's ships as well, because they are so small, the ships can get into these narrow waterways. Some of the Bosphorus Straits are that narrow. It's only some of them are only like about a mile long, which is, it's incredible to just be able to do that and cruise through it. And I promise you now, I was lucky enough to do this about 2 years ago when we weren't in a pandemic, and cruise through this beautiful waterway. And honestly, it's one of the highlights of holidays that I've done in my lifetime. It really was amazing. Now, the Bosphorus Straits will also connect you to the Black Sea, to Marmara, and then back through the Aegean into the Mediterranean. It is the only sea link between Eastern European countries that leads you through to the rest of the world. Cruises that usually sail through the Bosphorus Straits do touch through to Istanbul, which is a key port of call where you'll also visit, mostly when you're doing the Black Sea itineraries. So again, you'll either probably do Istanbul at the start or the end of a cruise. So again, I'd really recommend you to do either pre or post cruise stays here, just to take in all the culture that the city does have to offer. If you're not doing this at the beginning or the end of an itinerary with Azamara, you'll find that Azamara will usually dock here overnight, so you do get a chance to see the historical sites that Istanbul has got to offer. Now, Istanbul is quite famous for its local life and culture, and as you visit Istanbul's most vibrant markets, one of the most famous things to do is to visit the fragrant spice market and the legendary Grand Bazaar. That's also a key thing to do there if you're doing any excursions. Moving on to excursions on what you can do during the Black Sea itineraries, one of your typical excursions that you can do is in a port of call called Odessa. So here you can discover all the rich cultural heritage of Odessa, which is home to many inspirational poets and musicians and writers. Another popular excursion to do here is to visit the palaces of Odessa. That's truly breathtaking, and it's another popular port in the Black Sea too. I could carry on and talk to you for about an hour or so about the Black Sea, because there really is so much to see, and there is so much culture and historical heritage behind the ports of call. But you really do need to see it to believe it. So if you've kind of done more like the Western Med, the Eastern Med, and you're looking for something new, this is definitely one to do. This itinerary for September 2022 is going to be really, really popular. The prices were before today just over $4,000. So, and that was per person. Now we've got the leading rates from 3,590 per person cruise only. So there really is some great offers, but they will sell out because it's a really sought after destination to do. But yeah, that is all I can give to you about the Black Sea, because I could talk on and on about it. But I'm going to pass you over to my lovely to Nikki again.
Thanks, Katie.
Thank you.
I mean, honestly, I'm so jealous that you've been to the Black Sea, because it's definitely on my bucket list. And the great thing about it as well is it isn't even that far away. You know, it's not like a really long, you know, time to get there from the UK. So it's, as you say, if you've done the East and West Med and anywhere around that area, it's definitely kind of the next step, isn't it? And Istanbul, I've never even been there, and I'd absolutely love to see that city. It just sounds amazing, amazing. So thanks for that. So here we go again, try and move on to the next slide. There we go, and it's me Asia intensive. So, well, I absolutely love this itinerary, and I have to be honest with you, I haven't done all of it, and I haven't done the Japan part, but one of my colleagues has done this, so I got quite a few tips from them as to what to see and to do on the Japan part of this itinerary. So it's the Azamara Journey. It's 26th of April. Next year, 2022, and we start in the wonderful city of Tokyo, and end up in the other wonderful city of Singapore. So Tokyo itself, I think the ship leaves later on in the afternoon, and I got the price wrong here. I think it's 2,999 cruise only was the lead-in for this cruise. But when you get to Japan, I would assume probably most of us would arrive the day before. So we've got some time in Tokyo to spend some time, you know, wandering around, trying the sushi and the ramen. And there's fantastic places to see there, like the, I think it's called the electric town, where you see all the, you know, Tokyo's renowned for its gadgets and technology and stuff like that. So you have time to maybe go and visit Electric Town and see what that's all about. And then I think you've got the observation tower as well, which we're all very familiar with looking at when we see images of Tokyo, which is the Mori Tower. And if you manage to get the time to go up to the 52nd floor of that and get a skyline view of the city, I can only imagine, as I say, I've not done it myself, but I can only imagine what that must be like itself. So when we depart Tokyo later on the 26th, we have a day at sea before we get to Kobe. And again, we've got a full day there where it's enough time to get the bullet train, which takes you to the old capital called Kyoto. So, and where you can actually see all the old temples and shrines and the emperor's shrines to the old emperors and stuff in Kobe. So it's a real nice historic day that you spend there before heading back off to sea again, sailing overnight and arriving again in the morning into Kochi as well, which there's even more stuff to see there. There's one, that's where it's quite famous for its old castles, real old original traditional Japanese castles, and I think Kochi's home to one of the 12 of those left in the whole of Japan. So again, there's a lot of history around this country, and if you don't fancy doing the historic tours, Kochi's another fantastic place for shopping, as I suppose a lot of places in Japan are as well. So there's some great shopping arcades and stuff like that there too. Then we have another sea day before we end up in Kagoshima, and I'm never quite sure how to pronounce that. I've actually googled it, and there's different ways to pronounce it, so I'm going to go with my pronunciation here. So Gagoshima, we actually spend a couple of days here, 2 overnights in Gagoshima, so there's loads to see here. It's home to a volcano which dominates the whole of the city. But there's also, because of the volcano, you've got the hot springs and sand baths and stuff like that there as well. So there's loads of time to explore the ancient ruins there. To, you know, if you wanted to go to the hot springs, the volcano, the sand bath, you've got time to do all of that and visit the samurai temples and things there as well. So again, loads to see and do there, and plenty of time to do that. So there's nothing better, and this is quite unique to Azamara, I would say. There's nothing better than being able to get up in the morning, go out, and know that you don't have to rush back to that ship for 5 o'clock in the afternoon, or even for 11 o'clock at night for that matter. We're going to be overnight there for 2 nights, so you really can take the time to explore this place, you know, at your leisure and see everything that you want to see. Then we have another sea day before we we end up in Taipei. In Taiwan, which I think is the old capital of Taiwan. Now there's loads of stuff to do here as well. I took a note of some of these because I couldn't remember, but it's very much a trendy place to visit. You know, there's lots of trendy restaurants and bars and boutiques and vendor stalls and stuff like that. So fantastic, traditional, but a very vibrant place to visit, a very vibrant city to visit there as well. There's also, if you may be familiar with the typical view of the kind of bamboo-shaped tower there. And again, this is a great observatory place to actually look at the whole city from, or view the whole city from. So after that we leave, and we're again a day at sea, and we go, next stop would be Hong Kong. Now Hong Kong in itself is just, well, absolutely amazing. I mean, I just could have spent, we spend 2 days there, which I think is adequate, and it's great amount of time to be able to explore the markets, the shops, the streets with all the street food and the restaurants and stuff like that as well. But a must do when you're in Hong Kong is to take the old tram, and I think it's called the Victoria Peak, but you take the old tram from the park at the bottom, and it's a pretty much like a vertical ride up to the Victoria Peak, where you have an observatory up there, you have the Hubba Bubba restaurant up there as well, where you just get panoramic views over the whole of the city. Now this is a traditional Glasgow tram, believe it or not, that takes you up there. This tram is actually from the Transport Museum, the old Transport Museum of Glasgow. And it was taken over there, I can't remember exactly when, but it is one of these old traditional British trams that takes you up to the top here. So nothing high tech, but as you're going up this peak, you're actually looking, I mean, the skyscrapers in Hong Kong are unbelievable. And you're actually looking right in the windows of some of these houses when you're taking it up to the top. But fantastic thing to do when you're there. Then there's another sea day before we head into Vietnam. Into Da Nang. Now, again, one of my favourite places here, because from Da Nang you can actually take a short trip over to the village or the small town of Hoi An, which is a very traditional town by the river, just so quaint and beautiful, with lots of little markets and knickknacks to buy there. Absolutely beautiful place. But Da Nang itself is where we actually dock. And then probably the best thing to do when you're there is jump on the Azamara transfer coach into the city of Da Nang. And then once you're in the city of Da Nang, there's loads of markets, and again, just to wander about there is unbelievable, with all the food markets and the bars and the busyness of there. And when you're in the city of Da Nang, it's very easy just to jump in a cab. And what you'll find when you're in Vietnam is, like, the people are so friendly, and it's so cheap as well. And you can just jump in a taxi there, and your taxi driver will take you over to Hoi An, which is the little town I told you about. So they'll take you over there, and they'll spend the whole day waiting for you there, just for as long as you want to wander about. They'll just wait for you and then bring you back either to Da Nang to pick up the coach back to the ship, or take you straight back to the ship again. But absolutely beautiful people in Vietnam, and some amazing things to see. Then back to sea again. Next stop would be Ho Chi Minh City, or as it was previously known as Saigon. Again, a fantastic city to explore, and if anyone's been there, you'll know that the first thing you notice when you get to Ho Chi Minh City is the amount of Vespas or mopeds that are around. It's unbelievable. You're trying to cross the road, and it can be quite a scary experience at some points. But that's how they live there. I mean, sometimes you would see four or five members of the one family on one Vespa. I mean, it's a sight to see, and it's a sight to be had. But when you go to Ho Chi Minh City, there's just, again, we're there for a couple of days, and plenty of time to explore. You can go up to the traditional Rex Hotel. There's a lot of kind of French colonial architecture around Saigon. Up to the Rex Hotel, enjoy a cocktail, and again get a skyline view of the city, explore all of the inner markets, have the experience of trying to cross a busy road with about 1,000 Vespas around you. Or you can do one of the Vespa tours and just get right into it, which is what I did. And we did one of the Vespa adventures, which was called Saigon by Night. So we chose the night type one, that you hop on the back, there's about 6 of you, 6 Vespas, you hop on the back of one each, and they take you a tour around all the different districts of Ho Chi Minh City or Saigon. You experience food and all the different little, the 6 different bars, the restaurants that you go to, experience how to do it, how to make the pancakes, how to do it all, a little beer or a drink. and then jump on the back of your Vespa again to the next place. And you're going really up the little narrow streets and corners that you would just never ever find if you were doing this on your own. You know, you really wouldn't. So it really is a Vespa adventure. And it's something I would highly recommend. You do need to have your wits about you, in the sense that you're at some points got a bus on that side of you and a bus on that side, and 100,000 Vespas around you coming in all directions at a roundabout. So it can be quite scary, but definitely one that will stick with me for the rest of my life. Absolutely fantastic experience. And then you go on to the final port of call, which is Singapore. And again, one of my favourite cities in the world. You've got the Marina Bay, you've got the gardens by the bay, there's Little India to explore there. A great thing to do in Singapore if you've not been before is get on a hop-on, hop-off bus, which is a fantastic experience. You can just go where you want, get on and off. You can go to Little India, you can go to the Arabia district, find some other little fantastic places to eat. We found a great place called Chimes, which is in the heart of the centre and the business district. And then obviously you've got all the other typical things like the Marina Bay Sands and the gardens of Singapore, which are not to be missed when you're there. But a couple of days there again would be, and definitely an add-on at the end of your cruise. So you'll see from this particular itinerary, there's 3 overnight stays there. There's certainly some late night stays, but a fantastic itinerary for next year to contemplate and to think about. So I'm going to pass you on now, and I can't remember who's next. I think it's Kat who's going to tell you a little bit about the Grand Prix cruise.
Hi everyone. So obviously this is not a destination, just like everyone else's destinations have been, talking about lots of different places. This is one of the excursions that is part of the cruise that you can see in the bottom left-hand corner. So it's a Barcelona round trip. Now, I'm going to be talking specifically about the Grand Prix because it is a once-a-year scenario, and it's probably one of the most prestigious races that you could probably ever go to. You're going to get quite a biased opinion of this because F1 is my favourite sport. It's something that I look forward to every other weekend and obviously every year. And I found it very difficult last year when it got cancelled. So I'm really excited about this year and also really excited to talk to you about this particular race. Now, for any of you who don't know about the Monaco Grand Prix, which I probably think will be very, very few of you, it is classed as one of the Triple Crown races within motorsport. So you've got the Indy 500 and then you've got the 24-hour Le Mans. Now, unfortunately, I have not yet been to the Monaco Grand Prix, which makes me very sad, but it is on my bucket list. And if I'm being perfectly honest, I couldn't think of a better way to do it than doing it on a cruise. With any Grand Prix, you have to have a lot of planning put in place to get there, to actually get to the Grand Prix, to get yourself to your specific stand, or whether you're in your general admission. It does take a lot of time. It can be quite tiring and actually can take away from part of the experience. Now, I speak from experience from doing the Grand Prix in Barcelona, in Catalonia, and I've also been to in the one in Milan as well, to Monza. So from my experience of doing that, the thing that I've always had, I do like a bit of an adventure, and I do like to find my way in different places, and there'll be people watching this who do like to do their own thing and they like to go off and explore. But when it comes to a Grand Prix, it's so busy, and it can, unless you're in a group, like a tour group, it can feel very overwhelming, and I don't think you get the best experience from it. Now, Monaco is slightly different because it is an enclosed track. You are within Monaco itself, so if you were to do this on your own, if you did want to stay in Monaco, you would be paying an exceptional amount just to have the ability to stay near the track. Now, the reason why I say I want to do it on a cruise is because you get to go to the race day, you have specific stands, which I'll talk about in a minute, but you also get a holiday out of it as well, because as you can see, you get the itinerary along with the Grand Prix. So with this, you're looking at the sailing for under £2,000. You could pay up to £2,000 just for 2 nights stay within Monaco itself, or any hotel outside of Monaco, so maybe Nice, which is around 23 kilometres from there. The experience of staying in a city or being in a city when a Grand Prix is taking place is, I don't know, I don't really know how to explain it. It is goosebumps all the time. Even if you don't enjoy motor racing from watching it on the TV, I can guarantee you when you're there, it will change your mind. Even if you just go to one great race and it's this one, it will change your mind. You know, it's probably one of the most historical races. It's been around, I think this is the 77th or 78th year that it will be taking place in Monaco. And as we all know, it's full of very rich people, lots of yachts, and a lot of famous people as well. So the stand that you would be sitting in is stand K. Stand K actually overlooks the harbour, and it's probably one of the best views that you can get for this particular Grand Prix, because you see them coming down a straight and turning a corner and going down another one. The sound, if you don't like a lot of loud noises, potentially take some earplugs with you, because it is very, very loud. But it's a feeling like no other. I can't compare it to any other experience that I've ever had. One of the best reasons why to do it with a cruise company or a tour company is because you get to be escorted to specific stands. Like I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of walking, and if you don't particularly know where your stand is, Grand Prix aren't particularly well signposted. So with this, you will have a tour guide who will actually take you to your specific stand entrance. You have your seat number, and then you'll take your seat for the race. And then once you finish, the race is finished, you come back to the entrance of the stand, and then you'll be escorted back and then tendered either to the ship or by a transfer back to where the ship is docked. Now, I can't make someone want to love the Grand Prix, but all I can give you is my experience of the sound, the atmosphere around you, and just generally, I think this is one of the more historical things. A lot of the other girls have spoken about or will speak about, you know, UNESCO World Heritage Sites, and we'll talk about all these historical areas around the world, you know, like Athens, places like that. Obviously, I can't compare Monaco to Athens, but it's more the actual atmosphere and what happens when you're there and the history of motorsport. I would really, really class it as a bucket list experience, even if you're not a sports fan. If you are not generally, you know, don't want to do a lot of walking, this is great as well, because you do get dropped off at the stands. All I would say is it is a very, very long day. You'd probably be around about, from leaving the ship to getting back to the ship, about 8 hours. But I can guarantee you that every minute of those 8 hours is going to be worth it. I have been, like I said, to Barcelona, to Monza, on the bucket list still, and hopefully this year I will be going to Singapore and the Japanese Grand Prix as well. So if anyone wants to talk to me about their particular experiences, you know, there are other ways to add on to other cruises in different destinations as well. But if there was one cruise and one Grand Prix that you could join together, it would definitely be this one. I'm more than happy to talk to anyone about the Grand Prix if you want to, you know, the experiences that you have there, what you can expect when you get there, what the atmosphere will be like, what you would need to take with you, and how best to enjoy it while you're there. Not really much else I can say about it. You can probably see that I love it. So if you do want to talk to me about it, I'm always free for a chat, and specifically about this itinerary as well. And I'll hand you back to Nikki.
Oh, thanks. That was absolutely amazing. I mean, you sound so passionate about the Grand Prix. It makes me want to go, and I never really have before. And I mean, you're saying it's like an 8-hour day, you know, when you're out there watching, you know, the race. But what better way than to come back after that onto your own little boutique hotel at sea and just relax and have your drink served to you and talk about like-minded people, because I think a lot of the people that are on these, particularly in the 5-night Grand Prix cruise, are there for one, you know, are on it for that specific reason, and it's to see the Grand Prix. So a lot of the times as well, not all of the time, but a lot of the times, you know, we are able to get right into Monaco. But I think in these particular ones we do dock in Nice and just transfer in. But fantastic experience it must be. It sounds absolutely brilliant. It really, really does. So thanks for that. I'm going to move on to Emma now, last but not least, Emma, to talk to you about the Caribbean, I believe. I'm just going to try and swap my slides. There we go. And see if I can do something here. There we go. There we go, Emma.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Nikki. So I've obviously, I'm the last destination for everybody today, but in my opinion, we've saved the best till last. I am a little bit of a sun worshipper, and we, you know, for those that also enjoy the warmer climates, then that's what you'll definitely get with the Caribbean. I'm lucky enough that I've been cruising for about just over 20 years now, and the Caribbean was actually the first destination that I ever cruised to, and I've been back quite a number of times over those 20 years, mainly on cruises, some land-based stuff as well, but each time I go back, there's always something different that I experience, that I see, that I do, and I think it's such a diverse area of the world that it really does offer something for everybody. So you'll generally find that a lot of the itineraries will start and finish in Miami, which, if you've not been before, it's a fantastic city to visit. It's very vibrant. There's you know, there's a lot to see and do there. So you'll find that any cruise, when you're flying over from the UK and the cruise is departing from Miami, you'll always need to have a 1-night pre-cruise stay. But if it's not somewhere that you've been before, particularly for the art lovers of the world, you know, it's one of the largest Art Deco collections. So it's definitely worth extending your stay there, even just by a couple of extra nights, and you could do that before or after the cruise. And here at Panache, that's what we're all about. So we can certainly talk you through any tailor-made options that you'd like to look at. But then when you really get into the Caribbean itineraries, they're, like I say, they're so diverse, and there's lots of different places that can fall into a Caribbean itinerary. The one on the screen there we've got displayed is a little bit more of your standard Caribbean itinerary. It's great for not just first-time Caribbean experiences, but you'll always find there'll be lots of other places that fall into the Caribbean umbrella. So places like the Bahamas, Mexico, Belize, the West Indies, you've got the Cayman Islands. There's absolutely so much to do there. And in each of the ports of call, they will offer something quite unique. So of course, you'll find in probably every single Caribbean port of call, there will be a fantastic beach. If you are, like me, a bit of a sun worshipper, and you maybe just want to relax, then you've got some perfect days on these sorts of itineraries to just really unwind, relax, and soak in that sunshine. The Caribbean itineraries tend to be in our winter months, so starting from around about the end of October through till sort of the middle of April is the season. So it really gets away those winter blues for us here in the UK. You can go and explore and get some warmer weather. But for something a little bit different, there's always something unique, like I say, on each of the islands. I mean, the wildlife and the marine life that the Caribbean offers is absolutely superb. I will always do a snorkeling trip or a catamaran trip, because as many people rightly assume with the Caribbean, they really do have crystal clear waters. So for anybody who's got a real interest in marine life and enjoys the snorkeling opportunities, then you've got some of the best areas in the world here to explore. So that's something that I definitely recommend. But the wildlife side of things as well, there's some really lovely, unique things that you can do. I've been really lucky enough over the years. I've had experiences with stingrays on the sandbanks in the Grand Caymans. They are huge creatures. Certainly not what I expected in terms of the size. I've done it a couple of times, but this was the first time when I was really out in the open water with them, and it's something really spectacular and a sight to behold. There's also turtle sanctuaries in the Caymans as well. That's a really nice experience to do. You can see, you know, some of these turtles are over 100 years old, and there's lots to do there. I would definitely say Barbados, St. Lucia, Antigua. These are some of my favourite places and really beloved by a lot of the UK guests. You know, you can get a little bit off the beaten track here. You can do things like 4x4 Jeep experiences. There's actually a lot of lush tropic areas in the Caribbean as well. So it's not so much just about the beach and the crystal clear waters, but there's a lot of rainforests and real interesting, a different side to it that certainly for adrenaline junkies as well. You know, you can do these sort of zip lines and aerial tram rides, and it's definitely giving that ability for everybody to maybe try something a little bit new. But like I say, it kind of ticks the boxes for everybody. So I think overall with the Caribbean, what you'll tend to find is you'll get anything from a 10 to 14 night itinerary. Azamara are phenomenal for their Caribbean itineraries, because as you'll see on the slide there, in this itinerary as an example, you've got 3 late night stays. That's a huge benefit in the Caribbean, because there really is so much to see and do. The people are so friendly. They're very warm and inviting. So it's really nice once the sun sets, just to see that little bit of a different side to the islands. It's not necessarily too long a flight from the UK either, and it just really, I find it gives a lovely rounded holiday, giving something for everybody, and it's in some of the best climates. So for the winter sunshine, it's ideal. There's some fantastic prices for the Caribbean at the minute. As you can see there, a 13-night itinerary with lead-in fares from £1,500 per person. But like I say, don't forget, add on a couple of extra nights in Miami. It's well worth it. It's worth exploring. And if anybody wants a real good chat about the Caribbean, each of the individual islands, I'm very lucky. I've been to most of them, and that little bit further afield as well, sort of within the Caribbean, Central, and getting over to South America. You'll find some of the extended durations with the Caribbean itineraries also incorporate those. So really a lot to see and do. So please feel free, if there's any more information you'd like on anything more specific in the islands, please don't hesitate to get in touch, and I'd be more than happy to talk it through with everyone.
Thanks, Emma. Again, that sounds absolutely amazing. Just the thought of beaches and sunshine and crystal clear waters right now is just so appealing, isn't it? Like, we all want to be somewhere like that. It's absolutely fantastic. So I really hope that that's, you know, given, I mean, you guys are so experienced in all these different places that you've been, so much more than myself, but you know, it's great to have a real good insight, you know, into all of these destinations that Azamara, well, a handful actually of the destinations that Azamara cover. But I think the main, like we said before, you know, one of the main thing is the amount of time that you actually get to spend in all these wonderful ports, whether it be the Caribbean or Asia, South Africa. And the amount of time you spend, for example, you know, you get the whole day at the Grand Prix and nothing's rushed, things like that. So I think that really, really says it all, is that you've got these late night stays and overnights in so many places, and to know that you're coming back onto your kind of luxury floating hotel that's following you around and taking you there is just a bonus. So thank you for that. I'm just going to cover another couple of bits before we finish up. We're due to have a big event this year called Sisters Meet. It was meant to be in October, actually last year, October 2020. So obviously that didn't happen, but the plan is for it all to happen again next year in 2022. And it really is quite a unique event where, I mean, will we have the fourth one there at that point as well? That could be thrown into the mix. It could be 4 sisters meet again and not 3. So we've got the Pursuit, the Journey and the Quest all in the same area around about September, October time 2022. Now the 3 of them have just wonderful itineraries here. I won't go into all the detail, but you can see the itineraries that each of them have. But the unique thing about this is they will all be in Koper in Slovenia on the same day. And with that in mind, you can see here just a little more of an insight into the itineraries there. So you'll see the one, the Pursuit starts in Barcelona to Venice, then the Journey starts in Venice, goes to Athens, and then we've got Quest, Venice to Athens as well, around about the same time. But so they're all kind of just doing different, slightly different itineraries, but they all meet on the 8th of October. So the plan is to have one big event for all of the ships meeting there together. So last year, the plan was one massive, big, As Amazing evening, which was due to happen with all 3 ships. That is still the plan for October 22. Hopefully things will be completely back to normal by then, and we can have the big As Amazing evening between the 3 ships. But even if that wasn't to happen, there still will be an As Amazing evening. It might just not be off the ship in one big location. So we just need to wait and see what happens. But no matter what, the event will be huge. It will be a big celebration of all ships together. And I have a real good feeling that we'll probably have that 4th ship in there as well at the time. So particularly for those guests who have sailed with, you know, on all of the ships, wouldn't it just be great to be able to share the experiences with everyone on all 3 ships for that one particular day? So something to look forward to, and certainly something that can be bookable now. And I just wanted again to reiterate just a reminder of everything that is included. I'm sure all of you guys know that, and everyone at Panache has reiterated that on many occasions, that, you know, your As Amazing evenings are included, your tips are included, all your international beers, wines, spirits, etc. You can see there everything that is included as standard for all guests. And then obviously if you have a suite guest, then there's a few additional things that you have thrown in there as well. Just again, I know that Katy, you know, covered this at the beginning, but just a reminder of our Cruise with Confidence message. You know, don't be scared to make a booking or to book for the future. It is still legal to book holidays. We are allowed to still book them. Might not be able to go on them right now, but it's still okay to book and plan ahead. And you know, our Cruise with Confidence message will give you that peace of mind that if for any reason you wanted to cancel up until 48 hours before, you will get 100% future cruise credit to use towards any sailing right up until the end of April 2022. And as Katy said earlier on, we also have our best price guarantee. So if you're booking just now and your sailing lowers in price or a better promotion's offered on that sailing, again, you just need to contact Panache and we will honour that price right up to 48 hours before the sailing was due to go as well. So it just means that if you're booking with us, not knowing what the future may hold right now, but you're still guaranteed to get your cruise one way or another, and to guarantee the price that you've paid right now as well. So with that, I think I pretty much covered everything, and I'm going to hand you back to Katy, I believe.
Just wanted to say thank you, Nikki. That was really good, and an incredible webinar showcasing just some of the amazing destinations that Azamara visit, and just some inspiration for you for future bookings too. which does nicely lead me on to that. For anyone that has any inquiries or any new bookings from the back of this webinar, it doesn't have to be any of those destinations in the webinar. It can be for anything, but we are able to give you $250 onboard spend for any bookings that you make. That can be used for anything you want on board Azamara. If you've got any questions that you've not thought about during the webinar and you want to ask anything, then please do give me either a call on my direct line, which you can see on the slide here, or just drop me an email. But what we will also do, if there's any points that we've missed off or anything that you would want to rewatch back, we'll send this webinar over to you as well. But no, we've had a great turnout of people today. It's been a busy one, which is great, but I just can't wait till we can get back cruising. Let's get back cruising. I think everything's going in the right direction. There's some really good offers, like Nikki said, some really good confidence messages out there. Don't be worried, don't hold back. You know, you've got the flexibility and we will work with you here at Panache Cruises. But thank you so much everyone for joining, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. And yeah, take care. Thank you.
Thanks everyone. Thank you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.